Go ahead, Tony.
And the intro screen is a-rolling.
Woo!
Cars are flying by super fast. And
So fast.
welcome to episode 10.
10!
Only 5 or 6 more this season, and then we're gonna take a break
Thank
and
God.
come back with some new music for you guys.
We love you, but we hate you. And we're leaving.
It is getting too hot in here. Hold on, let me hit record.
Amateur.
Super hot. But not as hot, but not as much as last week.
Yes, it's much better. First
Tony
song
has
of the
a
night.
shirt on this week.
It took 6 showers for me to rinse all that sweat off.
First song is a little ditty called Johnny Chapter Nowhere from back in the day. Tony's favorite. 1, 2, 3, 4.
John was a pretty good kid, did the things all his friends did, went to church and sang their songs, till one day he wandered off. John wanted to start a band, wanted to make a personal stand, wasn't taking any of their flack, and all those people turned their backs. He is right in front of you, but you can't say he could never ever be so good as you or me. Things got tough, you turned your back, you were his only friend. Now John Chapter Nowhere's running through your head again. Where does it say to judge before you judge yourself? Where does it say to shun the one who's on the run from you? Where does it say these things? Nowhere! It's a conspiracy. Nowhere! Even though it proves itself. He is right in front of you, but you can't say he could never ever be so good as you or me. Things got tough, you turned your back, you were his only friend. Now John Chapter Nowhere's running through your head again. You're to blame for the animosity, and that you now can't you see that you've gone wrong? It should be a shelter for all those kids who don't belong. Those kids who don't belong. Those kids who don't belong. Ted Nugent. He is right in front of you, but you can't see it. He is right in front of you, but you can't see it. He is right in front of you, but you can't see it. He is right in front of you. And all those people turn their backs.
Episode 10. Thanks again for joining us, friends and family
You're
and
the
frenemies.
best.
You guys are the best.
It's mostly our moms.
Without you, there's no us.
Literally. If
Really?
we get down to it.
Anybody
you are
watching,
all our
Lee?
children.
All few on
Woo!
Facebook.
Sound off, people.
I will
Ask us
take
some
a
questions.
few more than less.
Ask us some really super embarrassing questions, and we'll absolutely tell you the truth and then edit it out later.
Yeah. Because it's only for the live people that get the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's true.
You got to keep it VIPs only.
That's true.
None
I
of
got
this
a question. Let me
riffraff.
grab my beer real quick. Someone say something funny.
Oh, man, something funny. Brandon.
I lost it.
No,
It
I
was
wasn't
over.
asking. I
Oh.
was something funny.
Whoa.
Brandon.
Jesus, dude.
Actually,
Yeah, he's
I
funny
think
too,
this is
I
somebody
guess.
else's beer.
That's gross.
Now you've got Tracy in your beer.
Ooh.
There's
We
a joke.
could like
You got
market
any
that.
Tracy in
Chris
your beer?
Corio is in
Tracy
chat.
flavored beer.
Do you want some?
So I got a question for us.
It tastes like disappointment.
Okay.
Got the first question of the night. What's the most bummed out you've ever been seeing a movie in the theater? What's the most disappointed you've actually been seeing the premiere of a movie that you were actually excited for? Who wants to go first?
I got this.
What's that?
All right, so you got to stay with me because I'm going to say a movie, and you guys are going to think I'm fucking around.
He's spinning a yarn, y'all.
So, one of the Twilights, right? I've seen all the Twilights. Yeah, I did. I'll admit to it. But there's one. It's either the last one or the second to last one where they're getting ready for the big, gigantic vampire fight.
Yeah.
Right? And they're all meeting in this giant field, and the whole fucking movie's this culmination of the good vampires and the werewolves meeting with all the bad vampires in this giant field. And there's this big epic battle that starts to take place, and everybody's dying, and people are getting killed, and there's werewolves dying, and like they're eating vampire heads. And you get all the way through the end of this, like, for Twilight epic battle scene, and then it's like, shoop, and it turns out the one vampire that can see into the future, yeah, she was just dreaming the whole time, and then they turn around and fucking walk away.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah.
You just ruined it for me forever.
Oh,
'cause I was
man.
totally gonna
Never
watch
gonna
those.
watch that.
It was a
movie.
whole movie about the girl just dreaming about the fight, and then they're like, nah, let's go home. It's like Dallas, the end of Dallas, where, like, that dude wakes up, and the whole fucking series was just
Spoiler
a dream.
alert! Hey, just kidding.
I'm ruining 2 shows tonight.
Who shot
Right.
JR? I don't even know. I just know that there used to be a thing on one of the beer store doors there that says, "Who shot JR?" If you don't know, you need to have your ID ready. Now it's
Yeah.
like 3 generations ago. Now even people like in their 40s are like, "Who the fuck is JR?" Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't know who
My
shot
parents were
JR.
into Dallas back in the day. That was a big show.
No, never heard of it.
Brandon, what's your most disappointed you've ever been from a film?
Okay, so I wasn't necessarily excited about this movie. I think we just went because it looked funny and it was something to do.
Because Ketchikan shows
Yeah.
2 movies.
But it was The Informant.
Which
Matt
one was
Damon.
that?
Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Was it a comedy or something? Or
I guess.
I've never even heard of it, to be honest.
We didn't even make it halfway through. It was like maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. And it was just, we hadn't even like budged, like not a crack on our face or anything. It was like, fuck this. Like we just wasted, I don't know how much movies were back then, but it was a lot of money. And it
was never expensive or never cheap, I meant.
Yeah, never cheap. Yeah, but yeah, we
The
left.
opposite of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just like, we didn't even count it as a loss. It was just like, well, all right.
Now I'm going to have to go watch that movie.
You're indifferent.
It was terrible. I
Yeah.
mean, there was like nothing funny, and they were like trying to crack jokes, and they had Matt Damon in some goofy get-up, and he had like a prosthetic nose or something.
I swear this does not ring a bell to me at
Like,
all.
not at
There you
all.
go. Yeah. It's called The Informant.
Apparently, yeah.
Unlike Matt Damon's best role ever in Euro Trip.
Or
Wrong.
in Team America.
He was pretty good in Team America, too.
Yeah.
I've always heard a rumor that Matt Damon was going to do the Matt Damon voice in Team America, but he ended up not being able to do it.
I thought he did do it.
No, there's an urban myth that it's actually him, but it's not him, apparently. But he was going to, from what
I
I've
heard he was supposed to have like a normal role, but the puppet came out looking so retarded that they decided to just do that. No, like they were like
That's my
cracking
favorite
up,
Matt
but
Damon role.
the puppet looked so awful
Him
that
in,
they made him retarded.
The Clerks cartoon where they just chuck the milkshake at him.
Surprisingly, I've never.
Yours, Matt Damon.
I have not seen the Clerks cartoon. I've heard tons of good stuff about it.
Fantastic. It's
I've worked
beautiful.
for Kevin Smith, and I
I
haven't
know.
seen the Clerks cartoon.
What the hell,
That's
man?
sacrilegious.
Tracy's super famous.
That's true.
And
That's like
rich
being a
beyond their
Catholic and
wildest
never reading
dreams.
numbers.
And now my friend Josh Stifter, who works for Robert Rodriguez, is a fan of our show now, too.
Yeah, we got a fan.
Maybe there'll be some movie where they need a shitty early 90s punk band in one of Robert Rodriguez's new, like Desperado 4 or something. We
Yeah,
can get our
yeah.
faces blown
Oh,
off.
I was gonna say who's it gonna be?
Danny Trejo needs to shoot me
Yeah.
in the
Danny
face.
Trejo.
Danny Trejo can throw a throwing knife through your fucking throat or
Like
something.
in real life.
Yeah.
Those are great.
I'd take one for the team for Danny.
So here's my movie that bummed me out. Me and my wife went to see Suicide Squad when it came out. That movie's a piece of shit.
Yep.
And I'm not a hater. Like, I am a hater. You guys know that I'm cynical to an extent. But I wasn't, like, going into that movie like, oh, this is going to be a piece of crap. Like, I was like, it looks okay. It's kind of stylized and cool and stuff. There was a lot of hype around it, if you remember. There was tons of hype around Suicide Squad.
Tons.
Went and saw it. It is a complete muddled piece of shit. It's hard to follow. You guys notice that?
Super hard to follow.
Doesn't make any sense.
There's just way too much.
You're never invested in anything. Like, the only real characters are like the Joker and Harley Quinn and Will Smith, and everybody else is like completely forgettable. Who gives a shit about Captain
like watching
Boomerang?
the new Avengers without watching any of the other ones where everybody's got like 3 minutes of fucking screen time.
Totally.
And they don't develop anybody.
Yeah,
I can see that.
That was an awful movie.
So
and
if they had just like made it Deadshot, Will Smith's character, I would have been okay with it. It would have been a way better movie than that thing.
I would watch a Will Smith Deadshot movie.
Oh yeah, no, I mean he did out of all the actors in there, he did the best.
that was the only scene that was actually cool to me is when he first jumps up when they're all fighting and he starts shooting all the weird little monster guys running towards him, and everyone kind of just they all just stop and like watch him. That part was cool. Like, how about you do that for the rest of the movie, guys?
The fucking thing where they're in the jail and they're like, "All right, do your thing," and he's like, "Oh yeah." It's like, really?
I felt like
necessary?
The fire guy.
Yeah.
That wouldn't use his fire like through the whole fucking movie. Like you just know, like at the end, okay, he's gonna do the fire thing.
He was in a dark place.
He was in a dark place. Literally, they had him in that tank.
On the same line, Roger Booth said his most disappointing movie was Justice League, which I've heard bad things.
Still haven't seen it.
Haven't seen it.
I was just about to say, yeah, that sucked, but then I was like, oh no, that's not an Avengers movie.
I didn't mind that one. It was okay. It
I've
was
stayed
way
away
better
from
than Suicide Squad.
I've stayed away from most DC movies. Like, I actually didn't hate Man of Steel as much as most people do.
I actually like that one.
There was some okay stuff to it. I do agree that it's weird. Like, they definitely hit some weird tones, and Superman
was very,
kills
like
a million people, probably.
Nouveau.
I think it could have done without like some of the what's his name in the beginning. The dad?
Russell Crowe?
No.
As
Kevin
Jor-El?
Costner?
No. Yeah, Kevin Costner.
Oh, okay.
No, I love Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
That guy was cool. But yeah, his like dad when he was like telling him all this deep dark shit.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
Kevin Costner was like, well, you know, you have that thing. Like, I'm surprised your mom let you watch that fucking movie.
When you're like,
she's at home
28.
now.
I'm an
Like,
adult.
son of a bitch, Brandon watched it. That's it.
What? That's like this is episode 10.
They're gonna have to go back to like episode 2.
You're gonna have to go back to the pre-episode episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the pilot. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Before episode 1.
And then
Fucking
we
Kevin
got funding,
Costner
and
3-pack.
here we are on YouTube and Facebook.
Now we got funding. You fuckers have been holding out on me. I knew it.
Fucking YouTube are like, by Jove, they've got it.
Speaking of anybody watching, go buy our stuff on Teespring right now.
Seriously.
Right now.
We need cash.
The
Like
fat
crazy.
shirts are actually fat shirts. Like, they're good. Like, usually when fat dudes buy shirts, especially like kind of these lower, like not mass-produced ones, you'll get this giant-ass square piece of fabric, and the logo will be like the size of a fucking silver dollar in the middle. But no, this one, man, I bought the one because, yeah, I'm that guy. I'll wear my own band shirt. I don't care.
Yeah.
Is the Facebook stream working? I'm
It's
sorry.
got the wasp, and it's huge. The video's not, but the chat was working. Weird.
Why is the video not working?
I got tired of your shit.
Oh, why are we hearing about this just now?
Oh, well.
Facebook pulled funding.
Yeah.
You should just close that stream. Get off Facebook and go to YouTube, everybody. And
Go to
let's-
YouTube.
we can
Zuckerberg
fix
was
it here.
like,
Hold on.
no.
We're just going to keep...
We're going to blame it on our audio technical advisor, Lee.
Last name and address disclosed.
Yeah. Go to our Facebook page if you want to know where Lee lives.
No. He's there.
That's where he lives.
We guarantee it.
On Facebook.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Is that fan still on?
You know what?
Hey, look,
I had like
Look,
the
I
fan
fixed
over
it.
here last week when everybody was super hot, and it was real nice, but I still had to talk about how hot it was.
Oh, God.
So you guys didn't notice the fan blowing on
You
me
had
the whole
fan
time?
going the whole
The
time.
whole fucking time. It was phenomenal.
Jesus, you're such a dick.
And I was really sad when I saw it move tonight. I'm not even going to lie. I was like, oh, I bet I could move it I was like, no.
Now it's
no.
all on me, and everyone knows it.
Yeah, we can smell it.
It looks like our Facebook stream is all screwed up here.
Man,
It is. Well, it's just got Brandon like pump
who's-
faking.
What?
Woo.
Excuse you?
Woo, you're doing this one.
Oh,
Like,
my beach
welcome
ball?
to the gun show.
Have you seen my beach ball?
Yeah,
I
is
think
it
it went
is it
that
way.
Yeah. That's you can see my raging biceps. It's like a wart.
It's
on a
weird
rubber
how
band.
your one arm's so much bigger than your other.
I know. You should see my other arm.
Your third arm?
That one's
It's
huge.
like a baby's arm holding an apple.
One of
That
these
dude off at the
days-
knees, he'd be a tripod.
No, you don't, it's at ankles maybe.
Yeah, it's 8 inches
I have a huge knob.
around.
It's at your ankles.
It's like a
You
salad
should get
bowl.
reattached.
It's a raging ween.
Whoa, look at that
Ween.
fanciness. It's Windows inside Windows. What version of Windows are we using, gentlemen? 10, 9,
I wish you guys could see what I'm
XP, Windows Vista. Oh, hey, there we are. No, I was pointing and I didn't point. I don't get it. I don't get it. It might be working. If it's working, sure. If not, go to YouTube like the adults do. Like Roger's on YouTube. He knows. Who?
Oh yeah.
Oh, Chris moved to YouTube. Thank God.
All right, it's time to play a song.
Yeah, it is.
We dicked with settings enough.
I love dicking with settings.
I love Dickens.
Charles Dickens.
You love fried chicken. You gave you a Dickens.
What are we on? Second song?
Yes.
All right.
Looking back on my life, I realize I've done some stupid shit. The broken bones and hangovers, but I wouldn't change any of that. I worked hard to become the mess I am today, and I accept all consequences for my crimes. Well, I heard some people say that they go back and right their wrongs, but if you ask me if I change, here's what I'd say: no fucking way. Looking back on my life, I realize I made some people mad. I'm sorry that I hurt those feelings. That don't mean that I'm sad. Life is worth the living. First you gotta have a life. The karma that I cooked up stuck in grill. Well, I heard some people say it. Go back, I forgot the right. If you ask me, kiss my ass. I really mean it. Kiss my ass. No fucking way.
Yeah.
Oh, we done did it.
I've always had trouble with the lyrics on that song, actually. Even way before this incarnation of Three Man. I used to fuck that one up all the time.
I didn't.
Live in front of people at the Arctic Bar.
That place.
I mean, I wasn't born yet. So.
You weren't
That's true.
at home, not watching Kevin Costner movies.
Breathing really heavy like this.
Is the Facebook stream working, anybody? Can anybody let us know? It actually looks like it is now.
Woohoo!
Thank God.
I told you.
Oh, wait.
I was worried.
Now it
fixed
just
it.
went weird.
It's only when we play music. There are conditions to this wish.
Oh, well. Tony's getting a
cares?
beerski.
Watch it on YouTube anyway. YouTube is way better.
I need a brewski as well. I need to bring in a Ranier.
Hey, Anthony.
Oh, beer guy.
Oh, be a boy.
Does everybody need a beer?
No, I actually got one.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
No, I'm good. I got.
Fooled you.
So I got a question for you guys.
Okay.
What's the first video game that you put some serious hours into?
Serious.
Like real hours. I mean, everybody liked Super Mario Brothers and Legend of Zelda. That doesn't necessarily mean it's the game you put the most time into. What's the game that you went obsessed with and put a whole bunch of hours on? Can be for PC, Nintendo, console, no matter what. LB.
So the first game I put enough hours in to beat was the original Legend of Zelda on the NES. That's the first game I ever remember. I'm gonna beat this game.
Did you ever beat 2?
No.
Yeah, that game's
the
impossible.
Shittiest game ever. I'm not
That's
gonna
the
lie.
one we had too. We didn't
Oh,
even have
man.
the original Legend of Zelda.
There was you would walk to the right because of course that one was a side scroller instead of a top down, and you'd walk to the right and there'd be a statue 3 screens over. Never got past it. I had no fucking clue what to do because I borrowed that game from a buddy and he didn't have the book back when games came with books.
Yeah.
Not a fucking clue. Not a goddamn clue what to do with that statue.
Yeah.
Just like RoboCop. Do you remember the original fucking RoboCop?
I remember the arcade version. They
So
had
I
an
think it was
arcade
the
version
same
of it.
version because 3 minutes into the game, you're in this room with this giant fucking robot, and you're up against a wall, and it keeps coming towards you, and you shoot it and fucking shoot it, and you dodge
Get me
bullets,
some.
and it never dies, and I die every time. And then 20 years later, I was talking to somebody about it, and they're like, yeah, no, you're supposed to turn around and shoot a hole in the wall and leave the room. It's motherfucker.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Brandon, what's your game that you sunk serious time into?
Serious time? The first one that I ever did was probably the Ninja Turtles game at the arcade.
Oh, the 4-person?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
great
yeah.
game.
Turtles
Oh, man.
in Time.
Yeah.
That game is so
Oh
damn
my
good.
god, dude.
Well, this was the previous game to
That
Turtles in Time.
This was
yeah, there was an earlier game, yeah.
Any and every chance we had, we'd run down to the arcade, when mom and dad weren't looking, for a good 3 hours doing what adults do when
when they send their kids to the arcade.
yeah, we'd book it down there, yeah, and that's what I spent my whole allowance for 3 months or something. I was saving up. It's
Tracy's
funny that you
playing
mentioned
bass
it, but RoboCop, but I was saving up for the RoboCop arm with the gun.
Oh, yeah.
I was saving up for that hunk of junk. And, I just blew it all at the arcade. And then I got one for Christmas because I was a spoiled brat. Parents were like, oh, he spent his allowance, so we're going to get him what
Was
he
it
wants.
everything you hoped for?
It broke after, the first jump.
Fair enough.
I had
After the first time you tried to shoot a perp in the balls while he was holding
yeah.
a woman from behind.
Dude,
Yes.
yeah. I jumped. I can't
Your
remember what
move,
it was,
creep.
But I jumped off of this shed that we had in our backyard. And, landed with that thing down.
And it just snapped.
That's why we don't have nice things, Brandon.
And then at home, it was definitely Crash Bandicoot.
Nice.
That
Never
was
played a Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah,
we
I think
had-
we're too old for that. Yeah,
we had some serious rules when we got video games in the house. Before that, I didn't really know that video games could be at home. I just thought that was an arcade thing, and I'm pretty sure my parents told us that. They're like, no, there's no way you can play video games at home. Doesn't that suck? And so then when we got that, we had a half an hour to play video games. But I mean, of course, as soon as mom and dad were gone, we'd bust it out. Then they started locking the cupboard that it was in. They're like, dang, we can't do anything. We're just a bunch of 3 spoiled white boys that get everything they want.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there's definitely Ninja Turtles though. I think all told over the course of a year, I spent like maybe 4 months playing.
Did you ever beat it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I beat it a couple of times, but it was usually when I jumped in when there was already a game going because I never had enough money to actually go from start to finish.
There was this one point where like someone totally left the game because I think their mom dragged them out.
Yeah.
And like my cousin Derek and I just ran over and were like, yeah, this is a level we haven't been to yet, so here we go. And yeah, it was,
nice.
Super fun game.
NBA Jam was a fun one too that had multiple people at the that you could have multiple people play at the same
Big
time.
Head mode.
What was the Michael Jordan game? Where you had to eat like Wheaties and there was like haunted houses and
I
stuff.
don't remember
I've
that
never
at
played
all.
that game.
Yeah.
Sounds like bullshit.
No, my Eric, you remember Eric Judson who did the videos for us?
Yeah.
He had it at his house.
I feel like that's a game that like came in a Wheaties box.
I'm pretty sure it was just called like Michael Jordan or something. But yeah, you had to eat Wheaties and get power-ups and you were bouncing this basketball and then it would like be fire and you could throw it at people.
That is not a game I'm familiar with.
Nope.
Eric, if you're watching, answer.
Roger says Castlevania was his.
Ooh,
Nice.
that's a good
choice.
one with the whip.
And then Chris, we're going way back. Atari Winter Olympics.
Yep,
shit.
I remember
Wow.
that one.
Yeah.
How old is this guy?
He's our age.
Atari's before my time even.
Oh, see, we had an Atari. We played Atari.
I had a couple of friends that had Ataris.
He's our
but-
age. Atari was before our time.
No. I mean, like 3. Like Atari was like. I don't remember getting an Atari. I just remember we had an Atari. Like that's how old the Atari was.
Ancient.
And then before that, we had the Apple IIe, the green screen with Dig Dug. Yeah.
Number Muncher.
Yep.
Oregon Trail.
The first game that I remember putting lots of hours into was Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
Because my brother was a bit of a computer guy, and he knew how to get all the shareware stuff installed. So we had put some serious time into Wolf 3D, and then quickly evolved onto Doom,
Yep.
the original shareware Doom, Knee Deep in the Dead, or whatever it was called.
I played a lot of Doom.
Was it like
Good
the
game.
old
I watched
Wolfenstein where you
people play a
moved
lot
with
of
the
Doom.
mouse and you couldn't look up or down?
No, old school
No, it
shooters.
was
You moved
all
with the pointing buttons, and then you press like Shift to strafe.
Yep.
Which was totally screwed up. Oh yeah,
And
for years
Space bar was shoot.
I was playing online for a while, playing shooters online, still playing that way before everyone's like, dude, just use the fucking mouse. Like, and you had to use page up, page down to look up and down on certain games too, and it just stuck. Like, so if you looked up and stopped, you would just stay there. It wouldn't like auto center or anything. Whoa. Yeah.
The fucking Mecha Hitler.
And I was still good playing that shit.
Dude, that was at the end of Wolfenstein 3D.
Yeah.
Fucking Mecha Hitler.
Doesn't he say, he says bye. What is it? What's the German word for? He says that, Auf Wiedersehen, like when he's dying.
Choose.
I
Sure,
still
Hitler
know.
would say goodbye right before he died.
I still know the 2 codes for the original Doom, for God mode and
It's ID something. They're all for id.
IDDQD was God mode. IDKFA gave you all of the guns and badges. To the key
ID
card.
SPISPOPD. That was the no clipping mode,
Yep.
so you could walk
through walls.
Whoa.
Yeah, that one.
Spispopid.
You guys are nerds.
I played enough Mike Tyson Punch Out that I still know his code.
I had a few friends that could actually beat Mike Tyson's Punch Out like end to end without losing any. Like they just knew all the tricks to beat every single person.
I mean, if you knew every guy, because with Mike Tyson, once I finally figured out, you just have to duck him the first round, and then like the second round, you can whoop his ass.
Did you see that there's a glitch, or it's either a glitch or something they put it on purpose on Mike Tyson's Punch
the
Out?
crowd?
Where there's a
The
guy
little
in the
dude in
crowd,
the
that
crowd,
like
yep.
stands up and he lets you know that Mike Tyson's
Yep.
about to do his power punch. Like it's a glitch that someone figured out.
I didn't know that when I played.
No, but I think they just figured it
Yeah.
out in like 2015 or so.
I
Yeah.
remember seeing that. But yeah, no, that one's 007. And get your pad and paper out. So if you want to go beat up Mike Tyson, it's 007-373-5963.
Man alive.
Wonder whose telephone number that is. I don't know if it's the right amount of numbers actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, 334.
Should call it.
You're the right amount of numbers.
You call the number and it's Mike Tyson.
This is Mike Tyson. Thanks for
Why
calling.
do people keep calling me here?
Come see my pigeons.
Mike
Ludicrous.
Tyson's going to find us.
Mike
He
Tyson
is-
seems funny as shit, so I
Oh,
think he
I'd
would
hang out with Mike
I think
Tyson.
he would appreciate this conversation.
Come see my tigers.
He'd probably also find it funny to kick our ass.
Oh man,
I'd find that funny.
I don't know if you could pay me enough money.
I'm kicking y'all's asses. How's my fist taste?
Wow.
We're ready for
I did a good Mike Tyson until right now.
ready for some My Last Sunrise?
Let's play some My Last Sunrise.
My life flashing before my eyes at the break of my last sunrise. Pages of my memory are burning in my head. Thoughts that I cannot speak of, choices that my conscience reeks of. My lips are trembling from the things that I've said. These memories fade, fade away. These memories fade, fade away. So as I lie here waiting, I feel my vitals failing. My screams of forgiveness are pooling in my eyes. For everyone I beat down, I wish that they could see me now. The mistakes that I have realized. These memories fade, fade away. These memories fade, fade away. I hear my heart rate slowing, the morning lights ascending. Uneasiness is growing, this life is finally ending. These memories fade, fade away. These memories fade, fade away. See my life flash before my eyes at the break of my last sunrise. Pictures of my memory are burning in my head. Thoughts that I cannot speak of, choices that my conscience reeks of. Lips are trembling from the things that I said.
In a dark place, mad at the world.
Watching
Such
Kevin
a dark
Costner
place.
movies.
How can you be in a dark place watching Kevin Costner movies, man?
Have you
no.
seen Waterworld?
I have, not only have I seen it, but I was young and dumb enough when it came out that I was like, this movie's awesome.
Oh, it was so good.
In retrospect, it's not a great movie. It's a little long. They probably could have shaved like an
Ugh.
hour off of it, and it would have been a better movie, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, that's the big issue for me, is the pacing's a little off. There's a lot of slow shit in there. Like, the effects are all cool, and the action scenes are cool. Like, it's a good movie in that sense, but...
Never
The
seen it.
concept was all right. Like, I really enjoyed the fact that he had, like, webbed feet and gills.
Yeah. And I like
'Cause-
the fact that everyone's, like, freaked out and, like, religious zealots. They're like,
Yes.
mutant! And they go to kill him right away. Yeah.
I,
Isn't this piquing
And-
your interest?
And he drank his own pee.
He did
I,
drink his own pee. That's like the first scene of the movie is he pisses in some weird
He's
contraption.
peeing in a bottle and pours it into a thing, and then he drinks the pee-pee.
I went to the attraction at Universal Studios.
I've
Oh,
heard
that
that's
thing's
good.
super fucking cool.
I heard it was
Yeah.
awesome,
That
yeah.
was pretty awesome, yeah.
That'd be weird to go to that and never have seen the movie.
Right.
Why are all these Mad Max looking dudes flying around on jet skis? I don't
Welcome to
understand.
my life. There was a lot that I don't
He went to the
understand.
Robin Hood thing. Had never seen that one. Fucking Postman.
Why does Dennis Hopper only have one eye?
What the hell? Yeah,
The
no.
Indian. Wait, god damn it, that's not Kevin Costner.
What?
Indiana Jones.
Oh yeah, no, that's
He could pull that off. He
could.
They should make Kevin Costner Indy.
fuck. Stop.
Yeah, that would be terrible.
That would be.
It really would have been.
What was that? Oh man, there was that movie. It was like Time to Die or something. There's a Kevin Costner movie, and he meets up with his daughter that he never talked to or something.
Nope.
I can't remember what it's called. It's a new-
Motherfucker, you are full of movies and video games nobody's ever heard of.
dude. Yeah. But yeah, it's shit movie. Super shit movie.
You should
There's
go
like
watch
this,
it.
There's this 20-minute scene where he's teaching her how to ride a bike because he was never there.
She's 40, he's 70.
It's just like one of those typical things, you know, the rays of the sun glistening on the camera lens. And she's like, "Why did you leave?" "I had to do what I was told. I was following
man.
orders. You never came back. You never called." And he's teaching her how to ride a bike. And then they're like laughing, and then it's like this montage, and she's like,
And then she dies.
So speaking of riding bikes, I got a unique question because we've asked a lot of questions about our worst injuries. This is a specific
Oh, yeah.
injury question,
"Yeah."
and it's what's the worst injury you've received doing the dumbest thing? So like you can have worse injuries and you can get hurt doing dumber things, but I'm asking like what's the worst you've gotten hurt doing the dumbest thing?
Oh, man. Yeah.
So who's up first?
I can go first.
Yeah. And you used your one the other when you were talking about scraping the ceiling and you hit yourself in the head and got like that circular
That
cut
was
on
bad.
your forehead.
Holy
Yeah,
shit.
see that would have been a good one for this one.
And Tracy's used his rollerblading story.
Yeah.
already, too.
So when I was in high school, I was riding a four-wheeler, and I didn't have a helmet on, even though that was the rule and the law at the time. I told my mom I
Even
had a
in
helmet on.
Unilocleat?
Yes, you had to wear a helmet when driving a four-wheeler, but not driving a snow machine. Strange enough.
Well, the
So-
snow will
Yeah, yeah,
will keep your head from cracking open.
Exactly.
I wore a helmet riding a snow machine because it was warmer. So anyway, so I'm on my four-wheeler. I'm on this little Honda 250, and the old Honda 250s had tiny little front tires and big back tires, so they kind of sat like a drag truck car thing. And I'm on the beach, and I'm standing up, and when the beach, like, you get in the soft sand and those big-ass back tires, you could hop, and, like, you could do, like, this kind of thing back and forth with it. So I was going full throttle down the beach, which was only, I mean, it was about 55. That thing would do about 55 full open. And no helmet on, shorts, and I was jumping and fishtailing it, and my foot slipped off the peg and got sucked under the back tire, and it flipped with me on it, like, because when it sucked me off, I jerked the handlebars. So I rolled with it, and then it, like, catapulted me down the beach. And I hit some rocks. I've still got a giant scar on my head from it. And the only thing I remember is I was, like, kind of lucid, and I watched the four-wheeler, like, cartwheeling down the beach. And it hit on this side of me and then, like, flipped up over the top of me and landed on the other side of me. And then I passed back out. And so the next thing I know, I wake up. And are you guys familiar with Gary Larson? Yes. The cartoon artist? Far Side. He wrote Far Side. There's a cartoon he wrote, and it was called Custer's Last View instead of Custer's Last Stand. And all it is like this top-down view of a circle of Indian faces looking at him. That's what it looked like. I opened my eyes, and all of my friends are standing around me in a circle, like looking down at me like they thought I was dead. So I get up, and I had that sweet-ass Jonathan Taylor Thomas haircut where the sides were shaved, but the top was long.
Yeah.
And you parted it in the middle, because that was
Was it
fucking
bleach
cool.
blonde?
Oh, absolutely.
So it was like the McDonald's.
Yes, that's exactly what it was.
I'm loving it.
It might have even been permed at this point in time. I can't remember. I had a short period of time where I thought perming that motherfucker was a good idea. It wasn't. It looked like top ramen.
So sexy.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. So anyways, I get up, and there's blood. You can't see because my hair's, like, down, and I'm dirty. I've got road rash from, like, my forehead to my chin.
Yes.
And there's blood, like, coming down the side of my neck, and somebody's like, "Your ear's bleeding." So I stick my finger in my ear, and I'm like, "No, it's not." And then I go to rub my like hand to brush my hair out of my face, my sweet ass top ramen, and I run my fingers through my hair and I stick my finger in that fucking cut in my head, like into the first knuckle, like. And to this day, like thinking about it makes it a little queasy. So unlike a smart child, because we didn't have a hospital, we had a public health clinic where most of the time, if you went in, they pulled out this giant ass book and like flipped through it to try and figure out what was. I remember. So if you get strep throat and you don't take care of it, you get scarlatina, which is this petechial rash all over your body, and you get a fever. I went there and I remember them. My mother and the nurse were like flipping through this giant fucking book.
My God.
Like maybe it's German measles. And they ended up calling a doctor in, I think, Nome or Anchorage, and we're like, the guy was like, well, has he had a sore throat, like, in the last week? And so they asked me, and I said, yeah, like 3 or 4 days ago. And the doctor's like, he's got fucking strep throat. Give him a penicillin shot. And he was right. So anyway, that was just like some prequel to set the stage. So I have this giant cut on my head, and do I go get stitches at this public health center? Absolutely not. I get into my dad's recliner with a wet washcloth, and I proceed to hold the cut on my head closed for like 2 days. And it just continued to bleed. Yeah. And my mom's like, if you don't go to the doctor today, I'm going to wait till you pass out, and then we'll drag you to the doctor. Yeah. And so it finally, like on the morning of the 3rd day, like it quit bleeding. It coagulated enough. But it's a giant scar now. Like it's big. It's wide because it never, all because I didn't wear a helmet and was hot rodding down the beach like a jackass.
I'll go next. I have a similar, on a side subject, I ran into somebody's trailer hitch leaving a Christmas party and have a story just like that. I probably should have went and got stitches, but just didn't, and it bled for like 3 days straight because I'm an idiot. Yeah. And that was not when I was young and dumb as a kid. That was like last year.
Last week.
Yeah. It was totally like a cut. Like, I mean, it was open. Like, there was like that oval kind of shape where you could see underneath the skin. It was. And I don't know why I didn't just go. In retrospect, I really was like, dude, I should have just gotten fucking stitches. This isn't my story, by the way.
Yeah.
But, so I have a similar.
Nice.
But it's. I still have the scars fucked up, actually.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah, sure. Look at that, man.
Look at that.
You could stick a
like
thumb in that.
vagina-shaped little thing right there on my leg, and it was crazy. It was disgusting. So
That's
anyway,
why you didn't get stitches.
because it's fun to look at in the mirror. I'm a very bored guy.
Looks just like a vagina.
My actual worst injury from the dumbest thing is I was walking down the stairs in the Commons at K-High, just in between classes, and I went down the one side to go to the bottom level over by Freshman Hall, and as I hit off the last step and took my last step, I rolled my fucking ankle just walking down the stairs. And like Mr. Buer was right there, and he was like, "Oh, geez, I saw that." Like, and it was actually bad. Like, I had to go to the doctor and get like pills and get a brace and had to skip a couple of days of school and shit just from walking down the stairs. Rolled my ankle.
Jesus.
Like one of the most severe, because I'd played basketball forever and I'd rolled both ankles a whole bunch of times. This was like the worst time ever, and literally I was just walking down the stairs. Oh, Jesus Christ! Yeah. So that's my story. Yeah.
I used to fall down those stairs for money.
That would not be fun.
My dad used to be a stuntman, so he taught us how to fall correctly.
No shit, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, like serious, real deal stunts, like driving trucks up to cliffs and riding up and down stairs on motorcycles and stuff. But yeah, he taught us how to fall right. So like every once in a while, it'll just be like this thing where I fall down the stairs. You're like, holy shit! And I'm like, I'm fine. I know what I'm doing. Pay me money.
You know that scene in Fight Club where Edward Norton's character throws himself down that staircase?
Yeah.
That's a crazy fucking stunt. You ever pay attention to that scene? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because he like jumps the first like 12 steps and lands like in the middle of the staircase and then rolls down. And if I remember correctly, he did get fucked up. Like, he actually hurt himself on that stunt. But because I watched the commentary. The commentary for Fight Club's hilarious, by the way, not to cut you off, because Brad Pitt and Edward Norton are on it, and they're like in character, basically. Like they're like, you could tell they just got done filming the movie because Brad Pitt's like this. He has this real anarchist. He's like, fucking people trying to give them their false hope and shit. Like, you can tell he must have just gotten done filming or something. Like,
I was trying to ask what movie it was, and then you said Fight Club.
Fight Club, yeah. Yeah.
It's a good movie.
That's such a great movie.
In the top 10 at least, if not top 5.
Read the book.
I've heard good things. Yeah.
I hadn't seen it, and then Anthony showed it to me. And it's one of my favorite movies ever since.
Meatloaf's
Then right after
best
that, we
role.
went and tried to start our own Fight Club
Yeah.
up at the top of Houtling.
At the school?
Like, yeah, I'm going to teach you guys how to fight. It was the funniest thing ever.
Did you do the whole thing? I want you to hit me as hard as you can.
No.
Yeah.
No,
We
but
didn't
the
do that.
commentary was
What's-
hilarious after.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. So my stupidest injury, I actually don't remember like how it happened, so that's the stupid part. But I woke up and went to work and all that, and all of a sudden my side started itching really bad. And I was like, God, that itches. And then like it kind of like I felt something inside moving when I was scratching it. And I lifted up my shirt, and it was covered in blood. And there was this little tiny metal thing sticking out. I was like, what the fuck? And then, like, I start pulling it. It's a fucking mattress spring.
What? You got a mattress
So
spring?
it was coiled up
What?
inside of me. And I was like, what the hell
You're like
is
a
going
Borg.
on? Yeah, I don't know. Like, it freaked me out totally. I mean, I
Yeah.
was at work. I'm, like, pulling this thing out.
That is super
It's
fucked
like,
up.
what the
How is that
hell?
even possible?
Do not know. That's like
Wow.
the weird thing is like I woke up, went about my day, like didn't notice it, and then like it started scratching, like halfway through the day, and I was like, "What the?"
This itch.
You sure you
Yeah.
weren't like abducted by aliens or something?
Dude, I
And-
don't know. We've got a lot of theories.
Yeah.
But yeah. So my other dumb one, like we'll do a 2 for. So I stabbed myself in the wrist with a pencil. I was dancing for this girl in high school. And like, I mean, I was going all out super goof dance because she was like into fun. She told me she was into funny. And I was like, oh, I'll show you funny. And so like, I'm like shaking my shit, sticking my ass out and like doing a bunch of pelvic thrusts. I mean, you got to let her see the junk swinging and everything. So, yeah. And then I throw my arms down and do like a jazz hand kind of thing, and there's a pencil sticking up in my pocket. This son of a bitch went like 3/4 of an inch into my wrist. And like I went to the office. I was like, "Is there a school nurse?" And they're like, "No, why?" And I held up my arm, and there's just like this pencil sticking out. Like, oh shit, yeah.
Do you end up going to the hospital?
No.
Do you just rip it out? Or?
Yeah, they're like, "Do you feel comfortable pulling it out?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And like, I pull it out, and it's like gushing blood. But yeah, I had this little blue dot on my wrist still
Nice.
from the lead poisoning my
Wow.
skin.
One time I wrote something in my forehead on with permanent marker, and for like years later, I'd be squeezing out blackheads, and they'd be like blue because of
Oh,
the,
yeah.
yeah. Like 2 years later, yeah, I still had little blue blackheads.
I did Sharpie on my eyelids. I don't know why. Like, I really don't. I
So
used
when you
to-
close your eyeballs,
yeah.
it looked like you were
No, it was-
satanic or something.
Yeah, it was just Sharpie on my eyelids. But I did that, and I used to like braid my hair into tiny little braids and put pens and pencils at the end of them, and do art.
Like an elephant painting.
Yeah, that's what you could call it. Oh man, it was pretty good shit,
You were that kid.
dude. I was a dumb kid, like seriously dumb, super dumb. You wouldn't even believe. I can tell by the looks on your faces you don't understand.
Should we play our last song
Yeah,
here?
let's do it.
Woo! Thanks for tuning in for the whole session here, guys. Last song is called Loser of the Year. Sucking some snot. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Wake up round noonish, eat weekly tuna fish, head for that black box system, Lincoln, beat down Rick and E-Rock. Watch some TV now, Holy Trilogy on DVD now. Call up old Georgie just to say hi, but he's never around. I got my Les Paul and my 112 amp, and that's all I need. I've got no money. I'm so broke, it's almost funny. I'd pump my friends for cash, but like I said before, they're here no more. I never thought it would be this good. Never thought I'd be this free. There are no people to bring me down. No responsibility. I'll be right here in this stupid town. And maybe if you're lucky, you just might see me around. I'll never amount to anything, but that's just fine with me. I'm the loser of the year. Come back next week.
We should have rehearsed that one.
Yeah, that sounded good.
Should have.
I totally forgot that intro. But it sounded badass. Thanks for
Production
showing up,
engineer,
everybody.
Lee Freeman.
Lee Freeman.
Handheld camera by Tony.
Tony.
Aren't they
I was-
called gaffs?
I always forget Tony's last name for
Or
some reason.
Dolly.
Key grip.